Wagwan, everybody. I am your Jamaican queen, Miss Y. You are tuned into How I See It TV, and this is Y Caught Alive. Please remember to like this video, share the link to my channel if you feel like the content needs some more crowd, subscribe if you haven't done so yet, follow me on Instagram and Twitter, now called X, at How I See It, and on TikTok at How I See It TV. Happy Friday, everyone. What are y'all up to? It is Friday night. Are y'all out on dates? Are y'all home? Have you been enjoying the Black Girls Day off? I had to go to work because I had 2 days off because of the hurricane, and Broward County School District said, y'all need to be back at work on Friday. So that's what we did here in South Florida. But it was a good Friday, honestly. I'm enjoying October. If y'all don't know, I am a Libra. My birthday is on the 17th. That's Thursday coming. So I don't know. I've just been enjoying the Libra season. Hi, Mama V. Hi, baby. How are y'all? Thank y'all for entering the yard. And if you don't know, the yard is what I call my chat or the comment section when I do a pre-recorded video, or if you're catching the replay. Hi, Nella. Ooh, Libra gang. Okay, so you're the 20th. Hi, Lady Pooh. I know there's somebody else, another one of my subscribers who told me that she's also a Libra. Oh, I know, I think it's either Reen Bass or American Born. Their mom's birthday, heavenly birthday, was recently. I remember that much. Hi, Denise. So y'all, I don't know if y'all are, if you've seen Melody's social media, you know, our girl, she has been quiet. She went to TikTok, had an amazing live. If you were in that live, then you know that it was just a great time. And then she left and was just back working, packing orders, working out, doing property preservation classes. And then she was filming a movie, and then Hotel decided that he was going to file some Rule Nisi motion because he's envious of her success. And then she had to be fighting that. So she has been off social media for about 2 weeks now, but she came back tonight, y'all, and I'm gonna show you what she posted to her story. So let me pull up the first one and make sure that I am looping. I didn't do the graphics for this correctly, so you're gonna see a black screen. My apologies. But she says, I know it's been a while, and yes, I've missed y'all, and yes, I still love y'all, and I gotta wait for it to come back. I probably should have my other phone. I can't believe I haven't posted in 2 weeks, but let me tell you, when you're in a spiritual warfare, okay, y'all, I'm gonna get my other phone. Just one. I'm gonna grab my other phone so that I can just read it from that. Because how I did this graphic, I didn't realize that I left an empty screen. Okay. And now the audio is, my background is gonna sound different because I was in my my room before, and now I am downstairs. All right, so I'm pulling up her Instagram on my other phone. Give me 1 second. Okay, here we go. All right, so her post says, and I'm gonna start from the top, I know it's been a while, and yes, I've missed y'all. And yes, I still love y'all. I can't believe I haven't posted in 2 weeks. But let me tell you, when you're in a spiritual warfare, sometimes you have to be still and go silent so you can hear from God with no outside noise. So that was the first post. Um the second post. Oop, my phone about to fall. I like to have visuals for y'all. Okay. Hopefully I did this graphic right. All right. So the second one, you also have to know when to call on your angels and cry out for spiritual reinforcement. You don't expect a soldier to win a war alone. And the sample applies here. It has been some amazing inner circle people holding me, pouring into me, praying over me, providing encouragement, and walking this journey with me. And then she goes on to say, and let me explain why I didn't do a graphic for the next part of her post, because it has phone numbers and dates and stuff attached to it. And I just feel like there are a lot of people out here who are trolls. They're probably blocked. They are probably blocked from her social media, and so they can't get certain information. And so I didn't want to post the next part of what she posted to her stories, but I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna talk about it. So, anyways, and it doesn't stop here. Yeah, it's that time again. So join me if you feel led. And then she posts a flyer for her 24-hour universal fasting that she does sometimes. And it's coming up next week. If y'all want to be a part of it, if you go to her Instagram story, you will see the conference call number and the pin and the time. So again, Mel is having another universal 24-hour fast. It's coming up next week. And if you want to be a part of it, in her Instagram stories is the phone number that you will need to be a part of it and the pin. Now, let me tell you, the last fast that she did, I didn't do 24 hours, but I did join to hear the word and some of the prayer. And I don't know, I left feeling energized, and I feel like some amazing things have been happening in my life this entire year. So I don't know. And I wouldn't even say that I'm a church. I used to be a church girl. And I've shared on this platform that when I was about 16, 17 years old, the church broke my heart, and I have not really been a fan of the church since, honestly. Or I should say church people. People in my church, the church I used to attend, they broke my heart, and I haven't been like, very fond of the church ever since. But I still love my gospel music, my Hillsong, Maverick, and all those, those worship leaders and stuff. But the last fasting that Mel did, I don't remember the date. I gained something from it, I can honestly say. And so if y'all are interested in, participating, as I said, go to her Instagram and get the number, screenshot or whatever you need to do, write down the code so that y'all can be a part of it. Now let's talk about Miss Dawn Michelle. Miss Dawn Michelle also made a post tonight. And let me read for y'all what Miss Dawn Michelle's post said. And she posted this to her IG story. I'm pulling it up for y'all. Just give me a second. Okay. So, Miss Dawn Michelle says, and another one. Congratulations to the whole Love and Marriage Huntsville cast, showrunners and producers. Through the ups and downs and everything in between, y'all are still standing tall. This not an easy business. Melody Cherie, Miss Princess of Own. I like that. Miss Princess of Own. Keep killing the game. What an awesome feat you have accomplished in the game based on a concept. I'm so proud of you that you never quit nor gave up, even when people couldn't see the sad frown behind the smile. Oh, that's sad. You always manage to garner strength to fight another day for your dreams. And then she says, Huntsville, stand up. I think that was a beautiful post. And as y'all know, Love and Marriage Huntsville, part B of season 8 comes back on November 2nd on the O Network. And I don't know the time. I think it's 8. I think it's 8 o'clock. But that was a beautiful post from Miss Dawn Michelle. And the truth is that we always see Melody put her best foot forward, you know? And I recall when she did her one of her TikTok lives, she said, you know, she had like a moment where she, you know, had a good cry and she was just asking like, when is enough going to be enough? And we are not going to see that side of her life. We're not going to see the frustration. We're not going to see the sadness. But I'm sure that with everything her ex-husband has been putting her through, I'm sure she's had some of those days where she's had to have a good cry, just asking God, like, when is this going to end? So Miss Dawn is like, everybody sees the smile, but they don't see the frown. But girl, you've been pushing through, and Love and Marriage Huntsville is Melody's baby. She was the one who made that call to Carlos, paid that $500. Was it 500? $500 or $600 consultation fee, met up with him. He was like, you know what? I'm not at that place yet where I'm ready to do a show. How about you do Housewives? And they were like, nope, we don't want to do that. Well, Martell was like, I don't want to lose my wife. And they waited 5 years. They were still in touch with Carlos, sending him pictures of things that they were doing in Huntsville. And then eventually, in 2018, they started filming For Love and Marriage Huntsville. So a lot of people will come to this show and they will, you know, take little digs. And when they say thank you, they kind of rewrite history by excluding Melody from the story of how Love and Marriage Huntsville came about. But we who know the truth. Yes, daughter. Uh, Can I please have the Sure. Give me a second. I'm coming. 1 second, y'all. Let me give my baby some milk. You're welcome. Toot, you think so? You think so? It sounds like a closing chapter. You feel like Miss Dawn's post sounds like a farewell post. Hmm. Maybe, maybe. I mean, now that you put it out there, now you have me now you have me thinking like could could this be like a sign? Could this be a sign? Like, I don't want the show to end. I want to see the show revamped. I want to see Melody regain control of her show. I want to see her get control of the creative direction of the show. I want to see her gain the power to fire and hire people. They call on her from time to time to help them with casting. Like she said on TikTok, a lot of these people, they were lying, talking about, oh, they didn't go to the podcast event because of the millimeters, when the truth is they were still in contract negotiations, right? And while they were negotiating contracts, the producer, the executive producer, I don't know who, was calling up Melody like, hey, do you know anybody? Do you know anybody who would like to be a part of the show? And she was like, okay, cool. I got some people. How about this person? How about that person? But I want it to be more than that. I want it to be more than they know that Melody is a resource in terms of knowing the who's who of Huntsville and only using her connects when it's beneficial to them. I want it to be more so where, well, I don't know. And once again, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't feel like they have her at the planning table when they are thinking about who to bring back to the show. Because from where I'm sitting, y'all, I don't think that if Melody was at the table when they were talking about bringing Destiny back, I don't think Destiny would have been here. I don't think Sunny would have been here. I don't think the Sunny Destiny Moses storyline would have been a thing if Melody was at the table when they were thinking about who to bring back or who to fire, or whatever the case may be. And also, she told us that she told them that they should start off the season with the girls trip because it would have been nice for the viewers to not get a season that started off with just pure madness. You know, the season started off sad. The season started off triggering for a lot of people. The season started off with something that made a lot of people so upset. And it was upsetting because we watched as several cast members invalidated what was happening with that DV in the third situation. We had Courtney talking about oh, that's a phone charge. And we had Nell Fletcher, Stormy talking about, you think, she was being vindictive or whatever. Then you had Nell Fletcher talking about, I don't agree with it. I don't agree with our Black men being in prison or being locked up or whatever. And it's like, so where y'all are just going to look past the fact that this man actually did something wrong and actually admitted to it several times, and we're going to make this woman the victim when he did something that's a crime in many states and she did the right thing to protect herself. How the season started off was absolutely just not okay. And it made a lot of people check out. That is why a lot of people were blacking out. And why a lot of people are still going to black out. And I understand. So maybe if they had listened to her and started off with the girls trip, at the least the season would have started off on a light note, and then we could have gone into the dark stuff, because the season started off dark. It started off super dark. Um, Hi, Lady Pooh. Oh, thank you, Denise. I appreciate that. I try. Hi, Ines Martin. Good evening to you, Tamara. I'm not gonna say your last name. I'm learning not to say last names. April, October. April, October, I think you were the one I was talking about earlier when I said I think one of my subscribers, their mom was celebrated a heavenly birthday this month. Hi, Miss Price. Um, oh, okay. Now I see what you're saying too. You feel like it's them saying Melody is, well, I mean, the princess of Own. The princess of Own. That's a beautiful title, and that in and of itself says a lot. You know, it's not the princess of Huntsville, but the princess of an entire network. And the truth is, I feel like the own, administration, executives, whatever we want to call them, I think they understand more than anybody else the value that Melody brings to the table. I think they've been watching her from season 1 of the show, and they understand that Love and Marriage Huntsville was built on it was built on the back of Melody being transparent. She could have came on the show and not shared anything about her real life. They could have continued to fake it. They could have done that. She didn't have to tell us the truth about what was happening in their situation. But instead, she took the bull by the horns, and she said, well, if I'm going to do reality TV, then I'm going to keep it real. And that's not something that should be ignored. And I don't think that the executives that own would ever ignore that. That show was built on Melody Shari being completely honest about her life. They got a season 2 because of the Melody and Martell storyline. They got a season 3 and a season 4 too. I'm just saying. I feel like she's about to catch a break. She's about to do this universal 24-hour fast. I'm telling you, the Bible done told us wherever 2 or 3 are gathered, some chains are gonna be broken. I'm with Toots. Love and Marriage Huntsville might be dissolved, and Melody might do a real estate show with Miss Van about the land they purchased or plan to develop. I even think that a show about her teaching her property preservation class would also be a good show, because there's a lot that, that entire industry, there is a lot more to it than people think. It is not a billion-dollar industry for no reason. And what's always crazy to me when I think about property preservation is that it's not an industry that people talk about. People talk about real estate. One second. Oh, let me go on my patio. Somebody mixing up something in my kitchen. Um, People talk about real estate. People talk about real estate management or property management, but we never really hear any until Melody came on our TV screens. I'm going to be honest. I don't know if anybody is willing to be honest along with me, but before Melody, I never heard of property preservation. I've never heard of this industry. I didn't know how much money people are out here making in this industry. And Melody is very knowledgeable about it. She's been in the industry for what, 10 years or so. So she is very knowledgeable. She's very knowledgeable about real estate. There's an interview that she did. Dang, I can't remember the name of the guy. I think it's some Brothers Talk or something like that. Whenever I find it, I'm going to post it to my community wall. But she did this interview with this guy on YouTube a few months ago. And the interview was purely about business. And I did not know that Melody knew so much about real estate. Not just, just the buying and selling of houses and all of that. She has so much in-depth knowledge about real estate. It's crazy. Even the guy was just absolutely in awe. So there is so much more to Melody than, we have been introduced to so far. So I feel like, as you said, a show about, dang, where's the comment? A show about her doing real estate along with Miss Van, maybe them developing that 40 acres, and also her taking us on a journey, of teaching her property preservation classes, dealing with her students from start to finish, and then watching as her students graduate into making money. I feel like that would be a great show too. Jess says she's suffering and people keep pushing her. I'm wondering how much more can she take. Yeah, she's 100% a human being. And so she took her mental, a mental day, a mental 2 weeks, and she regrouped. She dealt with whatever she needed to deal with privately, and now she's back and she's inviting, her fans into this space of prayer and fasting. So again, if y'all want to be a part of it, go to her Instagram so that y'all can get the conference call number to be a part of it. That would be great for Owen to let Mel run a show. It would definitely show what we crave, Black excellence. But with reality TV, there's always going to be a little bit of drama somewhere. But I think there's drama that we can stomach, and then there's just toxic mess. Where is the courts that claim they are tired of him and that he lose custody? What I've been told by someone who works in family court is that it is going to take something. It's horrible to say, but this is what the person told me. It is going to take something really, 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 really bad that he does that will make the courts actually, make that kind of a move. And I wish I could get this person to come on the channel so that we can talk about this case some more. But some of the people I know, y'all, they just don't want to be they just don't want to be on YouTube, and I just have to respect that. I hope the show gets canceled. This may be the only way Mel will get some peace. And that could be true too. But then outside of the show, outside of just the people on the show, she has this man who she's gonna have to deal with for 18 years of her 4 kids' life. When the oldest is 18, then that's, one of them that's, no longer in the nest, and then she has one more she has to wait on to get to 18, and then the other one, and then the other one. So even without the show, there's still so much that's happening in her life that's not attached to the show. You know what I mean? He is a Grinch. Well, let's hope she gets a Christmas miracle. Let's hope Mel gets a Christmas miracle. The show Melody said she was pitching just may have been picked up as well. Yeah, I know that they were filming for something. So who knows? Who knows? I know she was working on a documentary too about 7th Avenue. And I think that's whenever that's ready, I'm thinking it's gonna be on Nubian Network. I know she wanted to do something with the millimeters. We haven't heard much about that, but there's just so many things happening in Melody's life, where if a camera was following just her, it would still be a great story, in my opinion. Yes, Lady Pooh, the girls' trip would have been a great start for the show. Yeah, them having fun, we not having to see those toxic men. That would have been a great start to the season. Jess says she's accomplished her dreams and goals. I hate that she's suffering so bad behind the scenes. Yeah, I agree. I can't even imagine how that show would survive if Mel faked her life like the rest in order to be successful. She had to be true to herself. The show saved her. The show saved the Melody, and it absolutely saved the rest of the cast members from poverty, in my opinion. Well, maybe not poverty, but we wouldn't know these people. I firmly believe that we would have known Melody Shari. I firmly believe that. I just feel that she was always meant to be on TV. That's the energy. You ever you have you ever seen like I am in education, and I'm with pre-kindergartners all day long. And I have one student in my class right now. And this little girl, she is a star. She sings, she dances, she is just so animated. And every time I see her mom, like when she's leaving and she's telling me bye, and it's just, y'all would have to see it to understand what I'm saying. But I'm always telling her mom, like, you got to put her in dance, you got to put her in acting. Like, this little girl is a star. So in 20 years, or maybe even less, if I see her name on a marquee somewhere, if I see a trailer for a movie and I see her name, or if I'm watching a music video and she is the singer, I would not be surprised, because that's the energy that she gives off, that she is, if her talent is molded and nurtured, she is going to be a superstar. And I think that was probably who Melody was as a child. She was that child that teachers looked at and family members looked at and said, "Oh my God, she's a superstar." And her mom nurtured that. So whether it was Love and Marriage Huntsville, or a Real Housewives, or some other reality TV show, or even if it's being in a scripted series or a movie, I feel like the path that was designed for Melody would have had her on our TV screens, whether it was Love and Marriage Huntsville or not. So she is the one that had a vision. And I've told y'all several times, that I watched Kimmy and Maurice do an interview with Simone Redwine. She had another YouTube channel, I think a year or two ago, that she was doing with this dude. And they did an interview where they said that Melody Shri was always the one with the vision to have to be on TV. And when Melody would talk to them about it, no one cared, no one believed in the vision that she had for the group. To the point where even when Melody was filming, their sizzle reel, and when she was filming green screens and stuff, Kimmy pointed out how Tisha and Marsaw, they went on vacation. They went on vacation and Melody had booked like a green screen room or something for them to film a green screen. And when Melody called Tisha and Marcel, I was like, well, where are y'all? We have filming today. They were laughing at her like, girl, bye. And now look at them. And I hate how they try to erase all of that. Like, you guys know all of this. You know how hard she worked to get this TV show picked up. And then when y'all, well, with the exception of Kimmy, because I've heard Kimmy do several interviews where she gives Melody her flowers for, coming up with the idea and even thinking of them. But some of the others, for the most part, they never want to give her credit. It's always, thank you, Carlos. And I said this in another one of my lives, y'all, that Carlos wasn't thinking about Huntsville. Huntsville was probably not even the last place on Carlos's list of locations to film a reality TV show. So where would they be right now if Melody didn't pay that $600 to meet up with Carlos and to pitch him her idea for a TV show? Where would these people be? We wouldn't know the Scotts. We definitely wouldn't know Destiny. Where would they be? So I think it's always ridiculous that they try to erase that tidbit from the story. As if Carlos was just roaming around in Huntsville and said, oh my God, this looks like an amazing place to film a TV show. Let me find a few people, and just randomly just found them. Okay, so Bibi said, Miss Yvonne says she never heard of property preservation before Melody. Bibi saying she never heard of it. Nella's saying she never heard of it. So a lot of people never knew anything about this industry until Melody Shari was on her TV screens, and we were watching Love and Marriage Huntsville, and this lady's talking about having a property preservation company. D Herford. Hi D, I haven't seen you in a while. How are you? I have to disagree. Why? I think Owen sucks and doesn't value Melody at all. If they valued her, they would have intervened and got rid of Martell by now. They have the power to do so. Maybe they have been telling Carlos to get rid of him. Let's think about it this way. Is the reason for Love and Marriage Huntsville going on so many breaks? Could it be because behind the scenes, Owen has been trying to get Martell off the show, and maybe Carlos King has been fighting to keep him on? Could that be why? Because it does not make any kind of sense to me that this show went on almost a month-long break, and then they came back, gave us one episode, and then we're on another 2-month break. It doesn't make sense. Like, what is happening behind the scenes? what is happening behind the scenes. And there is so much that OWN can do because they are not the quote unquote the producers of the show. You know, they are just buying the footage. That's it. OWN is just buying the footage from Kingdom Reign Entertainment. Kingdom Reign goes to them and they're like, okay, we have another great season. How many episodes do you want? And if OWN says, well, last season wasn't really good, the advertisers weren't happy, so we're only going to take 15 episodes. And all that footage that they have to edit it down to 15 episodes. So a lot of things get left on the editing room floor. Or if OWN says, well, um, at the end of the season, at the end of last season, the advertisers, they were a little bit happier with, how things, is going. So we'll take 20 episodes this season. And that's all they pay for. But again, it's Kingdom Reign Entertainment who now has to go to the editing room, and all the footage that they have captured for a 3-month period or so, they have to edit all of that down to 20 episodes. So I also feel like OWN can also take a bigger stand in saying there are just some people who we do not want to have represented on our platform. And if you cannot edit them out of the show or completely erase them from part B or do something to show the viewers that we are not condoning this person's behavior, then we might have to cancel this show. Maybe that's some of the conversations that's being had. But if it's not, that's what I would want for OWN to do, to take that stance. Like, we cannot have this man and these people who are being arrested for fraud and DUIs and having lawsuits for scamming and all these things. We cannot have them represented on our show. And if you're going to keep these people on, then yeah, we are going to have to cancel Love and Marriage Huntsville. I think she always had that. I think that was one of the things she got in the divorce, I think. Yeah, in and of itself, it's not that in and of itself wouldn't be able to, I guess, keep everybody entertained, which is why I've said that she has so much going on for her. There's her property preservation classes, she's acting, she's doing music, she's doing motivational speeches, she's doing fashion. So many things going on in her life that a camera could follow. Let's see the behind the scenes of her working with Jay Bolin. How do they get the shoots together? Let's see the behind the scenes of her going to Texas to see what Abia has going on. Let's see what it's like in the lab as they're coming up with new ideas for products and stuff like that. Let's see Melody going through her lines for a new movie. Let's see how these new movie roles have, came about. And then also, if and when she gets the opportunity to be able to film with her kids, then it's also us following her journey as a mother. And Melody has lots of other dynamic people in her circle that would make good TV as well. Yes, she is hella strong. They say God don't put more on us than we can handle. She's got this. I know her rewards are going to be bountiful. I'm visualizing, celebrating more of her wins. And that's what we have to do, keep manifesting that as, her fans and people who support her. Just keep manifesting wins. Yes, Denise, that would be amazing. That would be amazing. You know what else would be amazing, y'all? To see one of her shows that she's producing under Tilted Crowns. And I'm talking about a show that she is not a cast member of, just the executive producer. To see one of those shows being picked up by a larger network like a Bravo, NBC Universal, you know, that would be that would be awesome too. Um, I don't think nothing bad has to happen for things to go Miles way. Miracles happen all day, every day. Absolutely. The fact that the cast and producers downplay DV on a national TV screen, listen, it blows my mind all the time. Oh, that's a phone charge. Man, that's nothing. That's a phone charge. That's just a text. And if y'all follow me on social media, you'd have seen me post different PSAs that said not just a text. And I explained why it's not just a text under the law. Because sometimes if Kingdom Reign Entertainment wasn't going to add a little disclaimer in there to educate the people, then I was like, let me do it. And we don't know a lot about these people's lives. I keep trying to figure out, what do I know about Kimmy? Outside of she has a son, Jalen, she got married to Maurice, her and Kiowa had some beef. We know that she has a mom, she has a dad, I think she has a sister, I don't know, or maybe a brother or something. But we don't really. She was a nurse. What else do we know about Kimmy on a deeper level? What do we actually know about the Scots, the men I'm talking about? What do we know about the Scott men on a deeper level? And I'm not even talking about whether they're cheating or not. I'm just talking about like feelings. How has their childhood actually impacted how they're showing up as adults right now? We don't know a lot. Which is crazy because reality TV should be about exploring somebody's life. And of course, we're not going to know every single thing, but everything that they've given us so far has just been so surface. Hi, healthcare workers. Hi, London. I've never seen you in the yard before, so welcome. Talking about Mel didn't do anything for them. That's listen, a fat Faison lie. It's a fat Faison lie. That was funny. Oh my god. Yeah, they can. They can. And if the show gets cancelled, I think Owen will explain why. And if that's one of the reasons, I wouldn't be surprised. She go to, is that how you or Sky go to school? Okay. Reality isn't always nice. Owen is following the reality. Martel has been a loose cannon and they probably know that he would have done something very crazy. Yep. And even how he explained how he showed up to behind every man set, and he was like, oh, you know, she took me off of the builder's license and was filming in the apartment or the property that, you know, my name was on the lease or whatever. And so I wanted the people to get up out my house and I did it nicely. I'm like, I do not believe that you told them people to get out of your house nicely. I feel like it went down exactly how Melody said it went down. You went up there and you acted a whole plum fool, destroying property, and being an embarrassment. But the way he shaped that on his Tasha K interview, you'd have thought that he went up there and he was like, okay, everybody, y'all don't got to go home, but you just got to get the hell up out of my house. You think that that's how he behaved. I don't believe that for a second. Not the hotel that was about to fight, Cedric, about to wrestle with Cedric on the ground in the cabin. Not the hotel that was about to buck on Miss Wanda. And we know why he was going to do that. And, I'll give him this. In that moment, he was standing up for his daughter, and how Miss Wanda sat up on her platform and talked about those kids' hair. But you still, as a big old grown man, don't walk up on an older woman like that. We saw him step to Melody in Vegas like he was about to put his hands on her. And Marsaw had to literally bear hug him out of the room. And then we saw how he tried to, not even tried, how he got into Miss Van's face. And so he wants for us to believe that when he was upset about his name being taken off of the builder's license, that he went to that house and all he did was ask them people nicely to get up out of the place that his name was on the lease. Yeah, I'm not buying that. Not buying that at all. Like Kimora Lee's Lee Simmons' old show, but would need to be able to show the kids again. I think it was called The Fabulous Life. Yeah, that was a cute show. I used to watch it back in the day. Kimora Lee's show. I can't even watch Bell Collective because those men are another level. Listen, that Cliff and his behavior last season. Hi there, Yvette. All right, y'all. Let's pivot a little bit. So I wanted to ask y'all this question. Ooh, wait, let me get this off the screen. What's a red flag everyone should be aware of when attending a job interview? Let me ask it again. What is a red flag that everybody should be aware of when they attend a job interview? So as I was going through the comments on this post, somebody says, I have to loop it. I have to loop it. So somebody says, putting on your job description any other duties. And when I read that, I had to think about that for a second. Like, okay, if I go on Indeed right now and I'm applying for a job, and when I read the description, it puts a list of a bunch of things that supposedly falls under my scope, and then it says, and any other duties, that should be a red flag. I agree, because what do you mean any other duties? What do you mean? And why can't you list the any other duties on the job description? Then somebody says, the salary was not posted. Do y'all care? Like, if you're looking for a new job and you go to one of these websites, if they don't have the salary, do you still apply for the job? Because I'll tell y'all this, I have not applied for any job that doesn't have the salary posted. And let me tell y'all why. Because I'm not about to go into the interview to have y'all ask me what my desired salary is. I hate that question in interviews. And I always tell my husband this, like, I hate that question because I don't want to lowball myself, because that has happened to me before, where I lowball myself, and or I or my desired salary is way out of their budget, so I don't get hired for the job for that reason. Like, just tell me what you're about to pay me and let me decide if I want to do the interview still. April October says, listen, all other duties assigned hides all the BS they don't want you to know about. Exactly. And not listing the salary. Yeah, I don't like that. Let me tell y'all a quick story of how I applied for this job. When I just got to the US, I applied for this job. And I'm working at this preschool, and they hire co an assistant teacher. And I'm working with this young lady for a couple months. And you know how it goes. You're working closely with somebody. Eventually y'all start to talk about, things that are not just about the job. So now you've become a little bit cool or whatever. So I don't know how the conversation even got to us talking about, well, not us. She brought up how much she was getting paid, but she was complaining about how much she was being paid. And then she told me the figure. And y'all, my heart sank to my toes when she said how much she was making. Because tell me why my assistant teacher was making more than me. Tell me why my assistant teacher was making more than me. That made no, and she was complaining. She was complaining. Whole time I'm thinking, okay, she's the assistant, so you know, I guess I guess she has a valid reason to be complaining about her salary, because there's no way she's making more than me. But when she dropped that figure, and what was funny about her doing that is we had a staff meeting where they had talked about like not discussing, and that should have been a whole red flag, because how are you going to tell your staff not to discuss what you're earning? Like that shouldn't be like classroom conversation. Like, what? What do you mean? So that should have been a red flag. So when this girl told me how much she was earning, I decided in that moment that I was going to quit. And maybe 2 weeks later, because I felt like it was disrespectful that they would have hired somebody for me to basically supervise. I was doing all the work, the lesson planning, everything. I'm doing all the work and she's here assisting me. And y'all hired this young lady knowing that y'all were paying her more than me, and y'all put her in a room with me. I felt so disrespected. And I put in my resignation because y'all tried it. Y'all tried it. Yeah, Nella, the girl was making more than me. I just finished Secrets of a Six-Figure Woman, and it talks about that. Yeah, y'all got to talk about how much you're earning. You and your coworker, even if you don't want to give them like the exact figure, just to make sure that you're not in a situation where you are the supervisor and your subordinate is making more than you need to talk about money on the job. I am a firm believer in that. I have a friend right now. has a master's degree in logistics and supply chain management. However, I guess how the US system is set up, some of the people who work at the ports in Miami, if they are what do you call that? Union workers. At one point he was telling me that some of the workers who he supervised, some of them barely made it out of high school and they make more than him, and he has a whole master's degree. And I'm like, that is crazy. Because when he was in Jamaica, he was earning top dollars because of his qualifications. Here in the US, if you're a union worker, there's just some benefits to that. And a lot of the times he's like, he doesn't even care about the position that he has because it, it doesn't match the money. It doesn't match, and I feel him on that. Then somebody else posted, when they say don't call the office, we will call you. Have y'all ever seen that on an application? Because I've never seen that on an application. Don't call the office, we will call you. I've never seen that, but if I ever see that when I'm applying for a job, yeah, that would be a red flag. Submitted your resume, then asked to rewrite the resume on a form. That's a huge red flag. Is that a red flag for y'all? Because what's the point of me submitting a resume if when I show up for the interview, everything that I put on the resume, y'all have a form for me to put that on. And then there was some other comments where someone says, if you apply to a job and you cannot find it on Google Google Maps. I'm like, absolutely. Cause why is your address not on Google Maps? We are in 2024. That is a red flag. No, I'm not putting my application if the salary isn't listed. I had been on a job for years. The lady that was hired behind me and was making more than me, I'm a dental assistant. She's the receptionist. That is crazy and disrespectful. I hope that you quit immediately when you found that out, Flojo. Because that's disrespectful. That's how I felt at the job that I was working at. Like, y'all just really disrespected me. I felt like they were probably just laughing at me, like, haha. She's in here being a whole supervisor, not knowing that the girl she's supervising is making more than her. Like, that's how I felt. Like, I was like a joke. So, yeah, I handed in my resignation and they were pretty much like begging me to stay. Sh- In my opinion, yeah, I'm a good teacher, but that was also a red flag. Um, how about we're all family? Is that a red flag for y'all? When y'all applying, when y'all going for an interview, if they're like, we're all family here, it's just like, what are y'all covering up? Are you trying to convince me? Are y'all convincing yourself? And how about y'all when you go for the interview and you go for the interview and the person who is supposed to do the interview, they are not prepared. Like the questions just feel random, like there's no system or anything. Like, is that a red flag? Do you leave the interview feeling like, yeah, even if they call me back and say that they want to hire me, I'm going to turn it down just because the person conducting the interview was not prepared? they begged me to stay. I'm a woman of color, and she was the ooh. So ooh. You could have sued them. You could have probably sued them for discrimination because you would have had the proof, and they would have to hand over the proof. Well, they would have had to hand over pay stubs and stuff like that. That's crazy. That is crazy. All right, now I want to show y'all a video. Let me show y'all a video. This is a show, y'all, that I would watch if it was a show. I should have probably made it bigger, but hopefully y'all can see.
Stop it! I'm coming! I'm coming!
Put the goat down! Drop the goat! Oh my gosh. What is wrong with you?
Waffles! Waffles! I know. You have new friends, but they don't want to play with you like that.
So cows love melon. This is honeydew. It bitch is not for you. Back up. Here, baby. They always want to leave you out. I know. There you go, sexy.
Come on, Smokey! Good boy. Yee-hoo! Whoa! Holy fuck!
Stop it! I'm coming! I'm coming!
Sorry, y'all. Sorry. I would watch that if it was a series. That was that was so funny to me. I was like, why is the horse jumping like that? He was jumping like a whole puppy. And that poor goat being chased by the donkey, and the donkey seemed like he understood everything that that lady was saying. I was like, there's so much happening in this clip, and I am thoroughly entertained. I watched it a few times because of how entertained I was. Now, I need somebody to tell me if they if they've had this experience. If they've had this experience where people say, oh my god, here I go once again crying on the internet for people I don't know. There are some content creators on Instagram who they just do these amazing things for people. And I just find myself watching and just tearing up. There's this one guy, I think his name is Jimmy, and he does like all these videos where he goes up to random people and he just asks them like, can I get $1? I'm hungry, or something to that effect. And if the person is kind enough or feel like being kind, they might give to him. And then he just blesses their lives in the most amazing ways. And it's just always amazing to me, y'all, how he finds the right person every single time. Like, these people are strangers to him. There's this one lady, she was walking around in maybe it was Walmart, I don't know, but she was walking around in a supermarket, and he goes up to her and he asks her, I need $1 to buy some cereal. And she immediately goes into this white envelope that she has in her hand, and she takes out $1 to give him. And she was like, are you sure you only need $1? And she was ready to give him $2, but he takes it. And then he gives her the box of cereal that he has in his hands. And she's confused because she's like, you just said you needed $1 to buy the cereal. You're hungry. And he's like, open it. And when she opens the box of cereal, he had $1,000 in there for her. And the lady breaks down crying because come to find out her husband was diagnosed with cancer and he's in the hospital. um he was the one that was making all the money. She's working at Dollar. She picked up a part-time job at Dollar Tree. Her car is about to be towed. They're about to be evicted. Like, this lady was going through it, and even though she's going through it, y'all, she was ready to give from the little that she had, and she was blessed abundantly above anything that she could have asked for or dreamed of getting. And some of his fans, I don't remember his name, Jimmy something, Jimmy Darts or something like that, they raised $50,000 for her. $50,000. And what's crazy about his videos, it's always the people who barely have anything. It's the people who barely have anything that's always willing to give to him. I don't know, it just makes my heart just sore. But I'm always like bawling watching his videos. Like, if you want a good cry, Nella, you know the videos I'm talking about, and you too, Flo Joe. I'm telling y'all, if you need a good cry, just go over there to Jimmy Darts and you're gonna get a good cry. And I was listening to a gospel song today, but it was a gospel song that had the Kalani beat, right? I don't know if y'all know that song. And I was in the chat and they were talking about how, sometimes you got to use secular music or whatever to reach, different people. And it just reminded me of when I was younger and I was in church, y'all. My youth dance group, we wanted to dance to Kirk Franklin's Stump. And the church people, they were going to they were throwing a fit. They were throwing a fit because they felt like Stump was, not of God, and it was demonic music and it wasn't real gospel. And because we wanted to wear pants, because my church was strict. If you're a Christian, you weren't supposed to, as a woman, you weren't supposed to wear pants and all of that. And so we wanted to dance the Stump. It was a fight. It was a fight for us to dance to Stump. So I couldn't imagine being that age and having a song like Kalani being remixed into a gospel song. I know the church mothers and fathers of the New Testament church that I was a member of when I was younger in Jamaica, they would have passed out. They would have passed out because they were ready to pass out for Stump. Y'all wouldn't believe the screwed up faces that we saw while we were just and when you think about Kirk Franklin's Stump, y'all, hi Glam Rocks, welcome to the Glam Squad. When you think about the words of Stump, right? It starts off with for those of you that think that gospel music has gone too far, right? That's how it starts. And then it says, lately I've been going through some things that really got me down. Like, what was demonic about that? Like, I think about that all the time. Even when I'm talking to some of my coworkers about like growing up in the church, I'm always like, I don't understand why the church mothers and fathers were so up in arms about us dancing to that song. Like, I felt like they wanted us to dance to the old rugged cross or something. Because just listening to the lyrics, I felt like that Kirk Franklin song was very powerful. I can't explain it. Jesus, your love is it's so amazing. What was wrong with the song? Glam says, I love God, but I still live. I just remember the church is just a building. All who are in the church is not a believer. People will disappoint you. That's why God said, do not place your trust in man. Yeah. I'm going to go to church with Glam one of these Sundays. I am. I promised myself that I am going to, but I don't know. I can tell y'all one story of some that happened to me in the church. So I guess you can say the pastor's wife was beefing with me, and I was a 16-year-old, right? A 16-year-old at the time. And well, I guess I have to tell the full story so that y'all can have context. So, okay, a story time, a quick story time. So, um, the youth choir, we went to what in Jamaica we call a rally, to perform. Now, the weekend before this rally, the young people who were going to go, we practiced a song that we were going to sing. I can't remember the song right now, but oh, I do remember this song. It's a song called I don't know who the singer is, but it's I have found a lamb that pardons, that song. I don't know if y'all know that song, but it's in Jesus, all in Jesus. He is the one, something like that. So we practiced that song, right? And we practiced how the song was going to end, just to show you guys how petty this whole situation was. Anyways, we practiced how we were going to end the song, how everything was going to trail off, blah blah blah. So that was the Saturday. The rally was like a Tuesday night or something. So we all go to the rally, and the pastor's sister, who hasn't been to the church in like a year or so, we find out that she's going to be singing with us. Okay, cool, whatever, no big deal. No big deal. So it's our turn to go sing. We all go up there, and I led the song, and I felt like everything went well. We did the song exactly how we practiced it on the Saturday, right? So we get off the stage. Remember, I'm a 16, 17-year-old at this point in time. So we get off the stage and we all go outside, and me and my little group, we are excited. We did a good job. You know, and the pastor's wife, her sister, she's like in her 20s, comes outside and she starts going off on me. She starts going off on me about how we ended the song. Now, mark you, we are at this huge concert. We just performed. Other people from different churches are outside, and she's just going off. And because I'm not engaging, it's the Libra in me. I don't like public embarrassment, and I don't like public confrontation. This has been me since I was a child. And if you embarrass me in public, I only have two reactions. It's either I'm going to snap on you, or I'm going to walk away. I'm going to disengage. Because we're at a whole church function, I decided that I was going to walk away. So that made her even more upset. She's more upset. And the other people, kids, because we're all kids at this point in time, right? Outside of the pastor's wife and her sister and the musicians or whatever, we are basically all kids. And there were some other members from the church there too. So they're trying to like get her to calm down, and she's still like coming at me. over how the song ended. Now, girl, you didn't practice with us. Everybody else was fine. We didn't even know that you were gonna sing because you haven't been a part of this church in how many months? Almost a year, going through your life struggles or whatnot. Why are you coming at me? It's like, did the demons take you over? Like, what's going on? And people are telling you that I'm walking away. I'm a child. You're in your 20s. You're an adult. Why are you still coming at a child? So I go into the car that brought us to this event. And when the event is over and we're about to leave, she still comes to the car window, still cursing me out. Still cursing me out. And her sister, who's the pastor's wife, is not saying anything. So the following Sunday, I didn't go to church. I was supposed to lead the praise and worship that Sunday. I didn't call or anything, which I can say now looking back, in hindsight, yes, that was rude. But I mean, I'm a child. I'm in my feelings. I'm 16 years old. We're talking about some grown women. Okay? So I didn't go to church on the Sunday. And so didn't lead praise and worship. So whoever had to take over that Sunday, they took over. And this was the heights of me being like very, very active in the church. Like I was in praise and worship. I was in the youth choir. I was in the dance group. I was teaching Sunday school. On some youth Sundays, I would preach. Like that's how active I used to be in the church, right? So the following Sunday, I text the pastor's wife and I'm like, I wasn't even thinking, because again, I am a child. So I'm not even thinking, let me apologize to her for not calling and saying I wasn't going to come to church the previous Sunday. So I text her and I'm like, God laid, I had this vision that I should lead praise and worship. And I really did have a vision, because what was funny about it, even though she didn't respond, when I went to church that Sunday, everything that was in my vision, it happened. So I guess it didn't matter who led the praise and worship. God was just trying to show me whatever breakthrough whoever was going to get, they were going to get it that Sunday. So the message probably was more so for the person and not him telling me that, girl, you need to lead praise and worship. So whatever. So I go to church and I still do praise and worship. She didn't respond to my message about me, feeling like I was supposed to lead that Sunday or whatever, but I still go and I do praise and worship with them, 16, and I leave. And I feel like everything's good, nobody's saying anything to me. So whatever, I feel like all is well. And then, y'all, the Monday evening, I'm coming home from school and bing, a text message pops up on my phone. And I'm reading the text message and it's the pastor's wife cursing me out. I can't make this stuff up. It's still like I'm in my 30s and it still like chokes me up sometimes, because these are people who I call family. I would do sleepovers at their house. They were from another parish, and my grandmother who raised me didn't trust me with anybody else but them. So if they were going into a whole other parish and I said, Mom, I want to go, my mom would pat my bags and say, go ahead. And I would be at, what you guys in the US, what y'all call, a state, So let's say they are from Atlanta. Let's say they're from Atlanta and we're based in Florida, and they're driving up to Atlanta for a weekend and they wanted me to go with them. My grandma would allow me to go. That's how much of a family they were to to me. So some of the things that happened, it really did break my heart because I saw them as like my people at my school thought that my pastor was my dad. Because my dad wasn't very active in my life. He would come, like if I was gonna spend the weekend at their house or whatever, he would come and he would pick me up at school and all of that. So hi babe. I'm not what? Don't say that. But anyway, don't do that. He's always saying that he's gonna get me on one of these live, and here he goes. They don't want to hear no American accent from you. I don't know where your American accent come from. Where that come from? So, anyways, the Monday I see this text message. It pops up on my phone, and the pastor's wife, she's like cursed me out, and she's saying in the text message that I need to learn how to like surrender to submit to authority and just a whole bunch of stuff, but she was using the Bible to like curse me out. And even as a 16-year-old, I felt like she was wrong. And so, because I'm a teenager, I did what a teenager would do, and I responded. And I'm like, I thought the Bible said that I should submit to God and not man. It was the Libra in me, y'all. I said, I thought the Bible said that I should submit to God and not man. And who told me to say that? She had a clap back. And then I had a clap back. And I recall one of the things that I said, she responded with just like, ha 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 ha. And then I just stopped talking because, lady, what? You're a grown woman. I'm a child. Like, what is going on? I went to church. So that was the Monday. I go to church on the Sunday, and the pastor, her husband, somebody that I thought was like a father to me, he sent somebody to say that he wanted to speak to me in his office. So I go, and when I go and I sit down, he's basically telling me that I am now on the back bench. I can no longer participate on the choir. I can no longer do praise and worship. Essentially, he had to take his wife's side. I mean, the text messages were there. He knew everything that happened from start to finish. But, when I think about it now, okay, he's a man at the end of the day, even though he's the leader of the church, and he had to take his wife's side. And so that's what he chose to do. And I was, quote unquote, backbenched. I was backbenched. And when he told me that, I left. I literally walked out of the church. And I didn't go back for a few months until the music director of the church, he spoke to my my aunt, because my mom was in the US at the time. And he spoke to my aunt, and he's like, she should come back and be a part of the choir. And he talked to the pastor, and the pastor was okay with me coming back. And my aunt was like, well, she doesn't have a way to get there. And he was like, well, if she takes transportation to come to the youth choir practice, I'll make sure that she comes home safely. So this is the part that really, really hurt me to the core. The other parts, super hurtful, but this is the part that hurt me to the core. So after months of not going to, church, and then feeling like, okay, maybe I could try again, I go to the youth choir practice. And when I go, like, when you're about to do something, but you're just so anxious. It's a level of anxiety, butterflies in the pit of your stomach. You just feel like something is going to go wrong. That's how I felt the entire time I was heading to that youth practice. I just felt like something isn't right. But I got into that taxi, child, and I got to the practice. And when I showed up, I just felt the energy was just, it was just not good. The energy was just not good. So the pastor's wife is there and she's a part of the quote unquote youth choir. She's a part of the youth choir. And I go and, I say hi to everybody. And, for the most part, everybody welcomed me in and whatever. But she didn't speak to me. Again, a grown woman. Just a grown woman. She didn't speak to me. Okay, fine. That was red flag number one. I should have taken my tail back home. But I pushed through. So I'm there and I'm quiet because the energy is off. The music director, he asked the pastor's wife to pray and she refused. I was like, okay. Okay. First she refused and then she said the Our Father prayer. Like, this is just, I'm 16 and I'm already clocking that this is just heights of immaturity. So she says the Our Father prayer. I guess it's a good prayer, but just based on everything that has happened and the energy that I felt, I just knew that something was going to just go horribly wrong. So we go through the entire practice, maybe an hour or two or more or whatever. And then when it's time for us to go home, the drummer, he was driving the pastor's car. So y'all, this is like 10 o'clock at night in Jamaica. There's no taxis on the road. The music director promised my parents that I would get home safely. Okay? Please remember that. Promised my parents that I would get home safely. So the drummer, he is driving the pastor's car because he's staying with the pastor and his family. And so he drove the pastor's wife and his son and niece to the practice. And when it was time for everybody to go home, he dropped 3 young ladies home. I walked with the pastor's wife, her niece, and her son to like a pickup spot because the drummer was dropping everybody else home first. And then he was going to return to pick us up. But we didn't stay at the church. We just decided to walk so we could meet him like partway. And while we're walking, nobody's talking to me. So I feel uncomfortable. I'm feeling like something is going to go wrong. So the drummer drops everybody else home, no problem, right? So he comes to where we're waiting for him, and I get in the car. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. We drive to a certain point, and he has to turn off to drop me home. So if he had continued straight, he would be he would be heading to where, the pastor lives. And to turn off would be like to drop me home. So he's making the turn, y'all. And the pastor wife says to him, now, these people were like family to me. So the minute he makes the turn, she knows exactly why he's turning and where he's going. But she says to him, where are you going? And he says, he's confused, and he says he's dropping Y home. And she didn't want him to drop me home, y'all. I'm a 16-year-old, almost 11 o'clock at night. And this grown woman is telling this young man not to drop me home. So he was about to basically fight for me in the car. And I told him, no, I'm good. It's okay. And I get out of the car and I have to walk to a taxi stand where, thank God, the taxi driver that would normally bring me and my family to church on a Sunday was at the taxi stand. I had no money. My house is like 15 minutes away, and she knows this. And I had to get out of the car. But luckily, this taxi driver, he was a good man. He dropped me home safely. I told him everything that happened. He was very upset on my behalf. And when I went home and I told my aunt everything that happened, my aunt was disgusted, angry, and she told a lot of people off in that church the following Sunday morning. And I never went back to church. It's not funny. Like, I'm tearing up telling the story because I haven't told this story in such a long time. But yeah, that's what happened to me. That is what happened to me. As a 16, I think I was almost 17, the 16-year-old. And that broke my heart. That absolutely broke my heart. And I tried to get back into church, but it just never felt the same after that. It never felt the same after that happened. And so even though I tried, I don't know if this is still the same in Jamaica now, but I remember to how hurt I was about everything. When I graduated high school, I didn't want to stay in that area anymore. So I left home and I went to college in a whole other parish, a whole other city. I moved my membership. I had to apply to move my membership from that church to another branch. And that was a whole mess too, because tell me why the pastor wanted me at this new church that I moved my membership to. Tell me why the pastor wanted me to apply to become a member of the choir. Like, that was ridiculous. Like, a whole job application letter to be a member of the choir. I was like, okay, this is not for me either. And I was pretty much done with the church at that point in time. Yes. Yes, Natisa, I definitely had church hurt. Man. It still hurts now because I'm like, wow, just to think that this was a grown woman, a whole mother, and you would leave a young girl at the corner of a street to figure out how she was going to make it home because you're in your feelings, because I called out you trying to become God in my life or something. Like, what? You don't use the Bible to try to tell me that I need to submit to you and your authority and blah, blah, blah. The Bible said I need to submit to human beings. And I called her out on that. And maybe she was embarrassed because a child was, quoting scripture accurately. Like, I don't know what it was. Or maybe she was mad about everything that happened with her sister and how a lot of people defended me. Like, I don't know what it was, but the whole thing was just so disgusting. But especially at that point in time when she made, and the drummer was my friend. He was my friend. He was my friend. And my friend said that when he got to that house, he wanted to leave that night. Like, he was in tears for me because, like, he didn't know what to do. Like, he's a young man. She's basically the authority in the car. And if she's telling, I mean, I guess another person would have said, yo, I'm not leaving my friend, on the roadside. So if you want me to leave her here, I will get out the car too. And y'all have to figure out how to drive this car. But, I told him not to worry. I would make it home. So I didn't even hold it against him. But yeah, that's what happened. That's the part that really like hurt me to the core. Her telling him, like, he's about to drop me home. What do you mean, where are you going? He's about to drop me home. And she told him no. That was just horrible to me. She put my life in danger. A lot of things could have happened to me that night. A lot of things. Thank God. Thank God I made it home safely. But what would they have told my parents had something happened to me? If that taxi driver wasn't at the taxi stand at the point in time I walked over there and I got in a car with some other random driver that I didn't know and something happened, what would she have told my parents? Like, that is what keeps replaying in my mind, like, every time I think about it. I'm kind of over it now. I saw her a few years ago after I moved here, and she was staying with a mutual friend here in Florida. And I went to visit. Well, I called the friend and said, like, I'm heading to your area. I'm going to come see you for Christmas. And she was like, well, I just want you to know this lady is going to be here. And I'm like, I don't care. But it's just something that made me just say, I can't get in deep with the church like that ever, ever, ever again. I can't just be out here treating people like family. If I go to church, it's just basically just to hear the word. And then it made me think about pastors and how can you lead? How can you be a real leader if you know that your wife is doing something wrong when it comes to a member of your church, and you can't stand up for that member because it's going to go against your wife? Like, I don't understand that. Like, that sounds, I get it. I would want my husband to stand up for me, but as a pastor, I feel like it's a little bit different. I'm calling my daddy. Nobody is going to church now. Oh my God. Those behaviors isn't, yeah, that was not Christian like at all. And I'm sure, Miss Charlene, I'm sure that there are churches where people are better, but I guess I haven't given it a try since then. Like, that was like a huge turn off. It was a huge turn off at that point in my life. And and I was still a child. My little brain was still developing at that point in time. 16, almost 17 years old, my brain was still developing. So I held on to that. I held on to the feeling, how that made me feel for a very, very, very long time. I didn't talk to those people. I didn't go to that church. I was done. And I think there was like one or a few times, like when I came home from college, where I would visit, but it just felt strange. It felt strange being there. It didn't feel like home anymore. And at one point in time, that church was my home. I would be there from Sunday to Sunday. and it just became like this strange land to me, you know. But that's my church hurt story. That is my church hurt story. So thank y'all for listening. I appreciate it. Remember, if y'all want to be a part of Melody's universal fasting, go to her Instagram. Because remember, these Instagram stories, they disappear within 24 hours. Maybe she'll repost it. I don't know. But go to her story so that you can get a screen grab of the information that you will need. You'll need the conference call number and I think a code to get into the prayer line for the fasting. So go do that, y'all. And until next time, remember to like the video, share the link to the channel if you feel like the content needs some more crowd. Subscribe if you haven't done so yet. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter now called X at How I See It. And over there on TikTok at How I See It TV. Until next time, I will see y'all in these YouTube streets. So walk good. Have a good night. Bye. And thanks to everybody that tuned in. Everybody that was in the yard and everybody that was listening in the bushes. I truly appreciate it. All right, y'all. Bye.